Hi everyone, it's Erin from the Provincial Farmhouse. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to do some French country thrift flips. We're going to be using the Laurel mould, the Trimmings 3 mould, air dry clay, and the English Toile transfer. You can find a full product list in the description of this video and all the products on our website, theprovincialfarmhouse.com.au. Let's get started. So I found this little tiered stand and this beautiful clock and this wooden planter at the thrift shop. Let's give them a French country makeover. So we're going to start with the Laurel mould today. I'm dusting it with cornstarch before I use IOD's air dried clay. The clock was already gorgeous when I got it, but it was a Grecian style. It's not the style I wanted to go with, so we are going to glue the moulds straight over the top. I could not get the details that were already on there off, sadly, but the clock face did come out, so that's definitely going to make my job a bit easier. So I'm just working my clay in using the micro rim, rubbing my thumb along to get a nice clean line, and then gently pulling my molds out. So you can see that the lovely Laurel mold there is going to cover that nicely. Now for this step, I could definitely use resin. However, I really like the cracking and aged look of clay, so that's why we're going with the air dry clay today. So now that I've got both of my Laurel pieces down, I am going to make a beautiful little bow to go in the center there, and I'm also making a little crown to sit on top. And then I am going to look at some trim. Now, I thought about doing the slimmer trim, but the gap up the top where I want this to go was thick enough to accommodate the thicker trim. So I'm just gluing down the elements that I'm happy with and making sure that the clock's not going to be damaged. I'm applying my molds with wood glue, but you can use any sort of strong glue. Next, I'm making one of the larger crowns. I'm going to place it over the existing design on the side there. I feel like it's going to blend in nicely, and I didn't want anything too chunky on the side there. Once I have all my molds glued down, I am adding a coat of Dixie Belle's drop cloth over the entire clock, being very careful as I work over my fresh molds. They aren't dry yet, so I'm trying to be careful not to damage any of the details. Once this coat is dry, I'll come in with a second coat. When the second coat is dry, I'm coming in with Dixie Belle's Satin clear coat to seal the entire piece. When the clear coat is dry, I'm coming in with Dixie Belle's Grunge Glaze and working it into the details. I'm wiping it back off all the high points and just letting the glaze settle in the lower points. I'm also making sure that it's not too dark. If you're not a fan of glaze and you want to try this project, just leave the glazing part out. When the glaze is dry, I'm using my finger and applying Dixie Belle's gold gilding wax. I'm just using it in a few places. I want it to look like faded gold leaf, so I'm just hitting it in a few areas. also adding the same gilding wax around the edge of the clock. It was a similar colour, but I wanted to tie it in better. Finally, I'm putting the clock face back into the centre. Keep watching to see how it turns out. Onto the tiered stand. My first job was to take the piece apart. I'm just using a little flathead screwdriver to undo the screw on the bottom, and then also unscrewing the centerpiece from the top piece. I'm going to place the screw into the bottom of one of the attachments so I don't lose it. After cleaning my piece well with white lightning and rinsing, I'm going to do 2 coats of Dixie Belle's Endless Shore Silk Mineral Paint. Now, when you're using silk mineral paint, you don't want to overwork it and you want to work in sections. This paint has a built-in stain blocker, which I thought would be perfect. Just in case these had been used for food in the past, we are not going to be using it for food. I'm envisioning this as some sort of a jewelry stand or something that would just go on a little vanity, and we don't want any sort of stains to pop up through our paint. I'm also painting the underside of each one of these pieces, and once I'm done, I'm not going to actually have to seal the paint if I don't want to, because it has a built-in top coat as well. Next, I'm using the Trimmings 3 mold and the IOD air dry clay, and I'm going to create a border around the edge of each of these plates, I guess you could call them, of the tiered stand. And this is quite a thick trim. You don't have to do this sort of a trim if you are trying to recreate this project. I just thought it added a little bit of elegance. Gluing down each of the mold sections using a strong wood glue, and I'm actually carefully pulling the trim up and over the lip of the plate a little bit so that you can see a hint of it. Next, we're using IOD's English Toile transfer. This has 8 pages of beautiful designs. I've torn out one of the pages and I am just using the edge of a screwdriver to very carefully crease and indent my paper so that I can cut around it, because obviously the inside of the plate is a little bit narrower, so I only want that section. I'm repeating it for the larger plate as well. Next, I am peeling the backing off the transfer and pressing it down into my plate, and I'm burnishing it with the transfer stick and carefully lifting the plastic as the design releases. Here I'm cutting off the extra bit of plastic. It just became a little bit cumbersome to work with. Keep that in mind if you're working with a large design. I'm then sealing over my transfer with Dixie Belle's Satin Clear Coat. When that's dry, I'm coming in with Dixie Belle's Grunge Glaze and working it into the details of the trim. I'm also putting it in the center a little bit, but I'm wiping back the majority of it. When that's dry, I'm adding a little bit of Dixie Belle's gold gilding wax to some of the details of the trim. I'm also adding some little feet to the bottom with Gorilla Glue that I have painted with gold gilding wax. Finally, I'm putting the whole thing back together again. keep watching to see how this turns out. Our final project is this cute little wooden planter. Now, it was already quite cute, but I wanted to add a little bit more French country, so I'm using the Laurel mold again with IOD's air dry clay to add some elements to the front. I'm now gluing down all of my molds with a strong wood glue. I started in a different direction. I did paint it grey and then changed my mind. So now I'm mixing up Dixie Belle's chocolate chalk mineral paint with sea spray texture additive, and I'm going to stipple and pounce it on. I want some texture and I want that brown to show through the drop cloth that we're going to be using. Once that chocolate is dry, I'm coming in with Dixie Belle's drop cloth chalk mineral paint, and I am brushing it on but only using light layers, and I really want that chocolate to still show through in certain areas. And I love how the drop cloth isn't catching all the areas. You can still see that texture, and I will do a solid coat however on the inside. Once that's dry, I'm coming in with a little bit of Dixie Belle's gold gilding wax. And here are the finished products. I really hope that you like these projects. I love the amazing ability of IOD's molds to completely transform something plain. I think that stand and that clock go beautifully together. I can imagine them on a dresser or sideboard. I think that the little wooden planter looks really cute now. It's not plain anymore, and it would look lovely in any room. Let me know what you think of these projects in the comments. I'd love it if you could hit that like button if you like it. If you're not already subscribed, I'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any of our videos. You can find all the products used here today on our website, theprovincialfarmhouse.com.au. Thanks for watching.